Today's video is another behind the scenes styling tutorial I did at the very beginning of this year for my client Pony Cosmetics. It's a really fun shoot, so let's have a look at some of the images that came out from this gallery. Now, if you want to see more styling tips and tricks and more behind the scenes from this exact shoot, it's all inside my course, Become a Brand Photographer. And I'm also showing you guys how I edit the photos. Now, there's a couple of techniques that I've used to bring about the final edits on these images. So when it comes to the editing, I'm sharing some techniques that I've learned along the way inside the course where I show you how to do background replacements as well as where to get these really fun graphics to give your photos more creativity and to overall give you more creative options when you are in post-production. I also show you the technique on how you can maintain your shadows on your images but still replace your background to keep the image looking realistic. For example, this photo here, you'll see that it's got a gradient background, but I've actually kept the shadows in. So if you want to know how to do this, then all the Photoshop techniques are inside my course, Become a Brand Photographer. So I'll leave the link in the description box below to the course if you're interested in checking that out or joining. If you have any questions on it, please always feel free to send me a DM or send me an email. And if you want to grab a little discount, you can use the code YouTube at checkout as well for 10% off. But for now, let's get into the styling, and I hope you guys enjoy it and you find some inspiration in these images as well. We're on to our next scene here, and I've got my 3 products on this little swing thing. Now this is actually an alcohol holder that I spray painted pink. So when it comes to your props and prop sourcing, really try and think outside the box and what things you can actually paint yourself that match the branding of the client that you're working with. So my idea is to basically have this up in the air. So I'm gonna have to hold it like this. And then in post-production, I wanna put some like clouds in, make it a little bit like dream-like. So half of this image is actually going to be finished in post-production. So to pop these 3 things together, I've used some blue tack to secure the products. So here and then on the floor to keep it upright. And then at the back to lift up the palette, I've just used an acrylic ice cube with a little bit of blue tack to secure that in place. And in terms of my lighting setup, I've got 2 softboxes on. So again, light on either side, but I'm using 2 softboxes. The reason for this is I don't want any harsh shadows. I want nice soft light so I can play around with this nice and easily in post-production. The one issue though that we have again are the reflective labels on the products. So what I'm gonna do to fix that is I'm gonna grab a white foam board and just place it on the right hand side of the scene, and that's going to deal with the reflective labels and just make them stand out even more so you can actually read what they say. Now I've got my camera on a tripod. It's a lot easier if you can place your camera on a tripod when you're shooting. It's going to be less work physically as well for you. Now because I have to hold this up myself, I am going to put it relatively close to my scene. And basically all I'm gonna do is this. So this is what I love about the Canon. It's got a flip screen. I can actually see what I'm doing here. Just gonna lift that up enough until I'm happy. And I'm gonna take the photo. Okay, and that's pretty much it. We are on to our next scene now, and we are dealing with some balloons. Now, a little, I guess, efficiency, productivity tip as well. I will be changing my backgrounds a couple of times throughout this shoot. So while you've got one backdrop up, get all your shots done on that background so that you don't have to keep swapping them out. Just helps save a lot of time. So I've blown up 3 balloons. Now, the reason that I like to choose 3 if I have 3, 5, 7, or 9 if I have multiples of the same product. So balloons, they're all the same. Odd numbers work better to the eye. They just, for some reason, they look more natural to the viewer. So what we're gonna be doing is dealing with about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products here. And the first thing I'm gonna do is prop up my palette on the acrylic ice cube again. I'm just gonna place that there. So when you're working with anything like a palette, it's really good to just like prop it up on something so that you can really see how it's looking. I've got another one here. I'm just gonna lay this down there. Now you can also see with the balloons, I've got them slightly different sizes and I've just stuck them down with some blue tack as well. So we're just gonna style up this scene here. Gonna lay that one on there. Oh, that way, I wanna see the label. And then I'm gonna lay that one there. I'm also gonna put the lid to that in here just to add a little bit more interest and to balance out the side of the photo a touch. And now I'm just using these little heart lollies. Just like, you know, we're coming up to Valentine's Day as well, so, you know, it can be a great photo for Valentine's Day. And again, I'm using 5 of these. Might actually put one in here. And then I'm gonna put one over here. Now, I've also got this really cute pink heart mirror. I'm not gonna put that in yet. I'm just gonna shoot this photo, see how it's looking, then I'll add this in and decide which photo I like better in post. Now, with our lights, I'm gonna bring this one right in here. I've got it on 100%. I'm gonna bring my camera in here. And then I've got my other light here. So you can see I've got these fairly close to my scene, just so I can get as much light on here as possible. Okay. So I'm just gonna take one photo from this angle first. And then I wanna take it slightly from this angle. So when you're doing product photography, get as many angles as you can, just so that you've got plenty of options in post to work with. And now what I'm gonna do is add in my heart mirror. I'm gonna pop it up like that first. I'm gonna take the shot, and then I'm gonna turn it over and take that shot, because I think both kind of look cute. Now, sometimes what can happen if you have your light too close to your products, you can get this kind of like yucky light sheen on the products where it just looks way too overexposed and it doesn't do the products any justice. That is because the light is too close to the product. So ideally, when you're using harsh light, you don't want it to be like right up here. You kind of want it to be back a little bit. And if you need to shorten your shadows, you just prop your light up. We are on to, I think, our last scene for this pink backdrop. So we've got 3 products that we are styling. So let's see what we can do with this. Now we've got our little palette here. This is the chocolate bronzer. So I'm actually going to introduce some chocolates into my scene. So I'm gonna pop this on here, this circle pedestal, and then I'm gonna open the mascara so that you can see what the wand looks like. All right, so I position my camera here, and the only issue that we have to deal with is the reflection of the heart mirror. So there's kind of two ways you can go about it. You can either position your softbox to cover the entire area of the mirror so that all you're seeing is like the white softbox. Otherwise, what I would prefer to do is I've just got a white piece of acrylic here, and I'm gonna place it over the mirror. So really what I'm seeing, so the white is reflecting the pink from the backdrop. So I'm kind of getting pink in the mirror again, which is what I want. I'm just gonna take that shot there. I'm also going to take this out and take the shot again to see which one I like best in post-production. All right, for this next scene, I've got a pink piece of cardboard. This is just from like a local stationery store here in Brisbane. And what I'm gonna be doing is actually making the background a different color. So I'm gonna make it a pink and white striped graphic instead of the white, and that's why I'm shooting on white as well. So this setup is gonna be fairly simple. I'm going to be using these two circle pedestals here, and we've only got 3 products that we have to focus on. So I'm going to be taking the lid off this so that we can see the texture inside of the product. Might just move that a tiny bit this way, move that this way. Take the top off there. I'm just going to roll that up a little bit and pop that on the side like that. And then with the brush, I'm gonna just like lean it against this here. So the main thing is that we can see what each of the products are. So the main stain is the product name of this, so we can still see that. And then we've got this here. So when it comes to styling your products, really think about the angles that you can lean the products at, you know, instead of just having, you know, this down here like that, or even like leaning there, you know, how can we make it more interesting and put the products different ways? Okay, I'm happy with that. And now I'm gonna take the shot. I'm just gonna adjust my lighting a little bit and bring it closer. So I'm gonna have that coming just over the top a little bit, and then on this side, and then this one here, I'm just gonna bring down. So for this shot, I'm using 2 soft boxes. I just want nice, soft light. Now the one thing that I do need to deal with is on the label where it says main stain. Again, that is a reflective part of the label, and from the angle that I'm shooting at right now, I actually can't really see that. So we're gonna get our whiteboard here, and we're just gonna see if we can get the right angle. Yes, that's perfect. I'm just gonna bring it out of the frame. So I'm just popped it under the lens, and we can see that so clearly now. I love it. So my aperture is at 5.6, my shutter speed at 160, and my ISO at 125. So I've shot that. I'm just gonna have a look. Everything is nicely in focus, and you can really see that label. So when it comes to your like equipment kit, it really pays to have a few of these whiteboards in your kit. I use these in a lot of my shoots. I can't live without them, especially if you're dealing with reflective products. You are going to need these. This was like $10 from Officeworks here in Australia. If you're not in Australia, usually you can just get them from your local stationery store. They're not expensive. You might want to get black foam board as well in case you want to enhance shadows. But essentially when you're dealing with white foam board, it will enhance your highlights, it will reduce your shadows on your scene, and it will really help you deal with reflective products. Okay, so we are on to our second last scene for this shoot, and we're gonna be doing some water photography. So I've got this vinyl backdrop here. This is one of my favorite styles. It's from a company called Everyday Co. Pink tile background. It's bright, it's bold, and it's pink. All right, so I'm gonna lay this down, and for the water, I have this acrylic tray. I actually had this custom made. You can find all of my suppliers for my props and anything acrylic inside the course in the resources section. So just gonna place that on top of the tile. And the products we're dealing with are gonna be these 3 palettes. And I'm gonna be putting this foam pedestal into the middle of my scene here, and the idea is that I'm gonna have water around the pedestal here, and it's gonna be like that kind of like by the pool summer vibe type feel. So I'm gonna just set up this scene. Okay, so I've got my scene here. I'm actually not going to use the sunglasses. I don't think that there's really a space for them. So what I'm going to do is basically pour the water in as I take the shot. So we have to make sure that our camera is on burst mode. So I'm going to put it on high speed continuous. And I've got my focus all good. And I'm gonna be pouring from this section here. And we're ready to go. Okay, so I'm gonna do this a couple more times just to get some more water into the tray here so that we can really build up that water a little bit and see those water ripples nice and clearly. Now, before I go any further with this shot, what I'm gonna do is actually replace the background with a matte pink color, just to give me another option to work with in post-production in case I don't feel the bright and bold pink tile works. All right, and here we go again. Happy with that. So that probably took me about 4 to 5 goes at doing the water splash, experimenting with a couple of different backgrounds. It's always good to have more options than not, especially if you think one background may not work. Just make sure that while you have everything set up and ready to go, just give yourself options. I hope you guys enjoyed this behind the scenes sneak peek from this gallery, and don't forget, if you want to see more and you want to learn how to put these images together in Photoshop, then go and check out my course, Become a Brand Photographer. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.